Last week, we did The Disaster Artist. The week before that, The Room. A few weeks before that, we had Billy on and we did The Gentleman. This week, we're taking it back to the classics with Rashomon. Now, this is Akira Kurosawa's first big movie. Before this, Akira Kurosawa's first movie was Uma, which he made in 41. And after that, he made 15 more movies, which very few people knew of. And then Rashomon was the movie that really got him on the international stage. He had those 15 movies. A lot of them weren't really critically acclaimed. He had one that is widely regarded as a cult classic, as much as one of his classics can be considered a cult classic nowadays. But it took him 15 movies, and it took him 9 years into his career before he gained this international acclaim with his movie Rashomon. Now, I don't know. For me, before I watch any movie, I got to look at what the critics say about it. How acclaimed is that movie? Now, the first thing that I usually check is this guy named Roger Ebert, who unfortunately died a few years ago, but he is probably the most widely known critical critic for a lot of movies. I mean, he's a movie critic. He is, I think, the only movie critic to ever win a Pulitzer Prize, and he has some really crazy things that he has to say. Even one of what I think is the greatest movies of all time, A Clockwork Orange, he gave it 2 stars out of 4. Rashomon, however, he gave it this great movie, must-watch status. 4 movies, perfect. In his, well, I'll get more into what he says later, but going into the IMDb, it has an 8.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, that has a 98%. Metacritic, it also has a 98%, and that 98% puts it as, I think, the 19th greatest film of all time, according to Metacritic. Aside from that, we can go to BFI's top 100 films of all time, and it's ranked number 26. Above movies such as Taxi Driver, Bicycle Thieves, Psycho, La Dolce Vita, Barry Lyndon, Blade Runner, and La Jetée. Those are all great movies. I've seen all of them. I have high expectations just based off of that. I have all-time great expectations for this movie based off of what the critics say, based off of the movies that people say is better than this, and just the ones that they say are on par or it's worse than. And well, I've talked to her for a little bit now. Now I want to see what you guys do. You guys know anything about Kurosawa or this movie in particular?
Not at
I have no
all.
idea.
Well, I have only seen one of his works, Seven Samurai, and uh, I'm gonna rewatch that even despite the fact that it's, I think, almost 4 hours long. This
Whoa.
one I wanted to start off with this because it's one of his shorter works. It's only an hour and 30 minutes. Well, an hour and 28 minutes according to Google. It's a courtroom drama, but it's not like a typical courtroom drama like I don't know, My Cousin Vinny, where they're just in the courtroom. As you can see from just the images that first ones that pop out, they're not in a courtroom the whole time. It's a drama. It's a crime thriller. It's I'm not exactly sure what genre to expect from this. Um, Even though they do say it's a drama or a crime thriller, I I for some reason I'm expecting something different from that, which I can't really articulate into words right now. But uh just going more into Kurosawa, just overall, he's regarded as one of the greatest directors ever. Looking at Watch Mojo, they put him at 5, Cinefix at 7. I think Entertainment Weekly has him as the 6th best of all time. He's widely acclaimed. He's he's renowned worldwide. Some of the greatest ever. Martin Scorsese, Kurosawa is my god. Kurosawa is essentially the Beethoven of cinema. Uh, and I really wanted to get into his work more since, as I said, I only seen Seven Samurai. I think Rashomon is a great place for every one of us to really get into it. It's short, it's quick, it's widely acclaimed. It's the one that got Kurosawa on the map, and I am really excited to go into this. I have just like I said, I can't articulate what exactly I'm expecting from this, but for now, Billy hasn't been here. Billy hasn't been on a podcast in a while, The last one I think he was on was the Gentleman one, which we have changed up our rating system since then. The categories that we're rating this on: acting, engagement. By engagement, I mean just how engaged were you, your personal preference as you went throughout it, the script, how the script engaged you, just overall the story, the score and the music, the style. The style includes the cinematography, the directorial direction, and just how the movie stuck to its genre. And then we have the payoff, which is, well, the payoff that you got from it, what you expect, and then how you get the payoff. So in numbers wise, acting, engagement, and style will be out of 10. And then now the score and the music and the payoff will be out of 5. Uh, do you guys have any like specific expectations from this that you guys would like to say before we go into it?
Definitely, I expect it to be really good since you hyped it up so much. But I also have a question. How come he goes 15 movies and they're not recognized, and then bam, he um he just hits one movie that's just like big.
Well, I mean, I can't say specifically because I haven't seen all 15, but I think for the most part it's because he's an international director.
Okay.
uh, uh, Being from Japan, especially 40s. This is from 1941 and 1950. For 4 of those years, we had a world war going on. For the 5 years after that, the tension between the United States and Japan was pretty high. So most people aren't willing to just go off the bat saying this is one of the great directors we have at the time. And I think with Rashomon, it was just one of those where you can't dispute the greatness of this one. And uh, like a lot of things, even Bong Joon-ho with Parasite just recently, he has a lot of great movies that people just haven't seen. Going back to Mother, going back to The Host, which I was talking about yesterday in just a conversation that me, Billy, and Nebi were having. We just don't know about them because we're in America, they're in Japan, they're uh, for Bong Joon-ho in South Korea, and it's just a matter of which one of these movies are more accessible to us and which one of these movies we just all, just like I said, it's successful, we get to all see it, and then we get to all see the greatness, and then from there people will go back to the older ones. And I think that that's kind of why those first 15 weren't right at that level. But then again, he made 15 movies in 9 years, and I'm sure that there were a few stinkers in there. I'm sure of that as he was beginning to get adjusted. Once again, I haven't seen all 15. I don't think I've seen any of his early 15 works. So I can't speak particularly about them, but overall that's kind of the sense that I'm getting. That's kind of what I understood from the articles that I read. But either way, Rashomon being that movie that really put him on the map, and then from here on going on to make pretty much banger after banger after banger. Rashomon, he has seven samurai. You have Yojimbo. You have so many other movies that I don't think a lot of people can even live up to. A lot of filmmakers, even nowadays, can't even live up to. It's so influential. Rashomon is one that has influenced pretty much every single courtroom drama since. It's influenced even thrillers such as The Usual Suspects. And uh, I want to see, I'm always excited to go into some older films because uh my taste right now, or what I do, what we are mainly introduced to, once again, accessibility, is movies from the past 30 years, movies from the past 40 years. And all of those movies have to have inspiration from somewhere, right? So the first time you get to see that, it might not be, for us it may seem like this, it doesn't seem as groundbreaking as it would for people who saw it in 1950, because this is the first time they saw it. For us, a lot of people have stolen from this. A lot of people, a lot of the movies that we've seen have already used a lot of the tropes that movies such as Rashomon introduced. So uh, I'm really excited to go into this. I'm hoping that it lives up to the hype, it lives up to the expectations. And for my second Kurosawa film, and for you guys' first, I'm really hoping that it's great. You guys have anything else to say before we get into the actual viewing experience of this?
And when you were looking at the pictures, you were like talking about what we are expecting from
Hmm.
pictures.
Hmm.
And I forgot what movie you used. Oh, My Cousin Vinny.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why. I thought this would be like there'll be a lot of fighting scenes.
That's what I'm expecting. That's
Yeah,
why what I thought. But I remember when I was just looking through a list of the greatest courtroom dramas ever. This was really high on that list,
really.
and it's apparently supposed to be a courtroom drama. It's supposed to have very deep themes of just justice overall. I don't want to look at any trailers. I don't want to really see. I don't want to read anything about it yet, like anything specific about the story. But just from like the images, the first images I see, it seems more like of a out of courtroom, just fighting, just like I said, some big set pieces, just from the images I see. But a courtroom drama, or maybe not a courtroom drama, a movie about law doesn't necessarily have to be in the courtroom the whole time. A movie about justice can be out of the courtroom, and that's what I'm expecting from this. I still expect for, especially with Kurosawa, who is such a prolific director, for him to have some pretty educational themes in here, something that will actually speak to us. But I don't want a movie where we're just in a courtroom the entire time. Where I do like movies like that. I like My Cousin Vinny. I like All the President's Men. But I don't really want that from this one.
Okay.
Nebby, you haven't
Um,
said much yet. Go
I don't,
ahead.
I don't really know what a cult drama is. I don't think I've seen one other than like Judge Judy and the Judge shows. But and I don't know what this is probably gonna be the oldest movie I've ever seen because I don't think I've seen a movie that goes past 1995. And so like I don't know how the acting is gonna be. I wanna compare how good we got. I wanna see how
How?
we improve.
Okay, so you're saying this is the oldest. Do you think this is one of the first live action international films you're seeing?
International like I've seen some like British movies that were in English. You mean like
Okay,
foreign language
by
probably?
yeah, foreign language. Like, is
Yeah.
this one of the?
I don't
All
think I've
right.
ever seen a movie that was not in English or
Oh,
Amharic probably because like I had to watch it back. So I don't know what to expect really. It's not even in English, but that's gonna be crazy. I mean, I've seen animes. I watched animes with no
yeah.
English,
That's why
but
I said live action. You're being introduced to
oh
a whole new world of cinema here.
yeah. Oh shoot, I didn't. Yeah, and it's black and white. Black and white movies that just and the camera quality is supposed to be like worse.
Hmm.
So I don't know, but I hope it's good. The story's gonna
Well,
be
I don't think
on.
the camera quality is necessarily gonna be. Well, I get what you're saying by quality, as in like just comparing it to today and how crisp it is, but just
Okay.
quality as in like how engaged does it have you? I don't expect it to be any worse than it is nowadays.
All right, and I wonder. It's a courtroom drama. So how does the law work in Japan? I want to see the comparison.
Yeah.
What holds up,
But this is
and
Japan.
Yeah, this is a Japanese film.
See, that's why I was wondering, is Rashomon how you say it? Because in Japanese, I've heard it's pronounced Rashomon.
oh,
What does it mean? Let's see what's the meaning of it.
whoa,
Yo,
we can't give away
do you
too much.
remember when Orochimaru used to have those three gates?
Three gates. You mean
Yeah,
like? What do you mean?
he'll
This,
like summon these three gates and then he'll yell out Rashomon.
oh, the three gates.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
said.
yeah. I
Remember?
think they're like. I remember those. I want. Oh yeah, Rashomon. That's the name of the thing. You're right.
Okay, so I have just been exposed because I've been pronouncing the movie's name wrong. Billy, go ahead and pronounce it to the best of your ability.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was spelled pronounced Rashomon, but I thought like you were pronouncing it like in an English way or something. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought what I was saying was different.
Okay. So right now, as I said, acting is on a scale of 10. Engagement is on a scale of 10. The music and the score will be on a scale of 5. The style on a scale of 10. And the payoff on a scale of 5. What do you guys expect for the combined final score to be out of 10? Billy, I'll give you some context. If you remember, The Gentleman, that was a 6.91 out of 10 combined. We did a movie called The Room, which was I think a 2.1 out of 10. And then we did another movie called The Disaster Artist, which I believe was the highest yet with a 7.6 out of 10.
Right, was it that good? I really thought it was like I don't know, like a boring movie.
Nah, the Disaster
But I
Artist
thought it was
is
too.
freaking amazing. You
No,
gotta check it
the
out.
room is amazing.
The
Now
Room is like a weird type of amazing.
yeah, I definitely have to watch the Disaster Artist now because I always
No,
Oh,
think
no, no,
you
no,
gotta
no, no.
watch the
You
room
gotta
first.
wait, and then once
Yeah.
like quarantine is lifted, you gotta watch The Room with like everybody, with every single person that you have ever met in your life. Check out The Room, and then after that, watch The Disaster Artist because I think, well, hold up, Neb. Remember in the last podcast, I said I want somebody to go in to watch the Disaster Artist without watching The Room,
Huh?
so that they don't really have context to what's happening. So,
Yeah.
was it like
should,
a sequel?
like, it's not a sequel. It's a behind the scenes turn into it's a behind the scenes biography turned into an actual movie of how The Room was made.
Oh,
It's about the room. It's an adaptation of the book, which is an adaptation of the movie, right, Emily?
Yeah, it's an adaptation of a book named The Disaster Artist, which is about how the movie got made. So, I don't know if you don't have to watch The Room, but I think watching The Room makes it better for you.
okay. So you want me to watch The Room first, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
okay.
but don't watch The Room alone. Watch The Room with your whole family.
Yeah.
What is
Or
it?
with the boys, but that would be
Maybe
a
like
fun
your
movie to watch.
siblings, maybe not your parents. I don't know. There's some sus scenes in The Room.
Okay,
But
yeah. My
The
parents.
Tag, hardly. Yeah, but that's all I'm saying. It's a good movie. It's a good movie, but
it's a good one. Now, but this is different from anything that we've done so far because so far we've done some cult classics. We've done The Gentleman, which I don't know how to really explain that, but Rashomon is different. It's like a cinematic masterpiece. If you ask anybody who really like explores, studies cinema, this is like a necessity for any cinema lover, for any cinephile. So I gotta say, what most of our categories are kind of, I'll say at least two of them are very uh technical in the sense just engagement, even though it is very much personal preference, it has some technicality to it, and definitely the style. So I feel like this will accomplish that. And payoff wise, I don't know. I feel like this might not meet the payoff threshold of the other two of other three films because my expectations are unbelievably high right now. And like I'm expecting this, I'm going in like this needs to be one of the top 5 greatest movies of all time to meet my expectations. And
dang,
I hope it
has to be
meets that,
something.
but I don't know. Overall, I think it has to be at least an 8.5 out of 10, even combined.
Dang,
Well,
I don't know. I think it has to be better than like a Thor movie or like Spider-Man. I don't really have that high expectations like Yamanik does, just because it's so old. Yeah, but and I'm not really like knowledgeable in its critical acclaim.
What do you expect just statistically? What do
Oh,
you think?
Thor?
Yeah, I want to see. What do you predict? What's your
Um,
predicted score for this?
my predicted score is a 6.5 really.
A 6.5? That's low. Okay,
Um,
Billy, what's your predicted score?
I'm not just like Nebby. I'm not too familiar with movies this old, but I've been like open to artistic views.
Mhm.
So I think from what you've explained, and if it went international, I'm gonna give it at least a 7.5.
Okay, so we'll go ahead, we'll watch it, and we'll be back in a second. Not many movies make such an impact that their names enter into the language. The Rashomon effect refers to an instance when the same event is described in significantly different, often contradictory ways by different people who are involved. This forces us to question our own humanity and how far our trust extends. Now, Rashomon, this viewing experience was well, I'll get into how the viewing experience was as throughout the entire podcast. It was an hour and 28-minute long movie. We had a few problems with the ending, and I had to get myself a free trial for HBO Max to see the ending. But well, okay, I'll start off with this. Now, well, before I even get to that, look at this poster. This, if you guys know about the Criterion Channel, they make some of the finest posters out there. This poster for Rashomon, it astounded me when I saw it. It, I don't know, I might make this my wallpaper. I really like this, but that's fine, man. I wanted to bring up IMDb. I know we really trust IMDb. At least I do. Right there is the 8.2, ranked in IMDb's top 250. This is number 127. Ahead of it is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Django Unchained, Saving Private Ryan, Life is Beautiful, Hotel Rwanda, City of God, Goodfellas, Lord of the Rings, the entire trilogy, and The Usual Suspects. Now, behind it, though, are movies such as Batman Begins, The Wolf of Wall Street, The Gentleman, which we saw a few weeks ago, The Big Lebowski, Catch Me If You Can, 12 Years a Slave, and for our Harry Potter enthusiast here, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Based off of what I just said, how do you guys think this is fair, this number 127 rating for the Rashomon, ahead of the movies that I said, behind the movies that I said? What do you guys think, just based off of that?
Yo, no cap, it's not better than The Dark Knight, but I understand why they placed it so high. It was more revolutionary than Dark Knight, you know. The aspects of this movie, especially for a movie with 100 years ago, I was shocked to see such a good movie. And
well, okay. Well, I understand it's not 100, it's 70 still. 70 years is still a lot of years.
Yeah,
Not 100 yet, but we're creeping up on there.
yeah. I mean, still
Still,
enough to be
70
black and
years
white.
is a lot. Well,
Yeah.
I'll get into more into like the black and white effect and when we get into the style. But Billy, do you think that's fair? I tried to pick movies that I know you guys have seen to show how it ranks here. I know you love The Wolf of Wall Street just like I do. I'm pretty sure you've seen Catch Me If You Can. I know you've seen 12 Years a Slave. I know all of us have seen The Gentleman, and all of those are ahead of this. But then again, I mean, all of those are behind this. And then going into some of the movies that I know you've seen that it's ahead of or it's below it, just Goodfellas, Life is Beautiful, and Hotel Rwanda. Where do you think that really stacks up against all of those others?
I think I'm a little surprised then that it's ahead of those movies like Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like this movie is just it's not I mean it isn't in the same time. So it's like difficult for me to tell, but I could definitely see why it was that good back then.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
and we shouldn't like try to degrade a movie just because movies nowadays are like better animated or better film, or who knows if it's better.
Yeah,
I guess we just gotta average like back then versus now, and then I think
I mean it's just really just personal preference. Yeah. I mean, Rashomon, it's a really, really, really good movie. It's great. It's exceptional. But I'll definitely say that personally, I enjoyed The Wolf of Wall Street more than this. I enjoyed Batman Begins more than this. I enjoyed Catch Me If You Can more than this. But I was very, very surprised to see that on a top 250 ever list that this was 127. I would expect it to be somewhere in the top 50. I would expect it to be really high given its historical status. That's something that really just astounded me when I first saw that ranking. Outside of that too, I brought it up earlier. I think it's 27 on some lists for I think the BBC list. And then going more into that, BBC.com's 100 greatest foreign films of all time, it's ranked in 4th place. It's the only 3 movies ahead of it are, one of them is another Kurosawa work in Seven Samurai, which is number 1. Number 2 is Bicycle Thieves, which if you guys haven't seen that, I watched it for a school project, and it was made in 1944, and it really holds up just overall. It's on YouTube. Go check it out. It's free. And then you have Tokyo Story, which I haven't seen, but another one of the Japanese movies from Kurosawa's counterpart. And then, but then again, this list was a bit sus because it had Old Boy at 29, and then it had City of God at 42. But even then, this is ranked fourth in foreign films. And beyond that, the inspiration, the overall influence that it has on cinema as a whole, if you look at just the idea of the unreliable narrator, the idea of all these separate stories being told, or one story being told from separate perspectives, this was maybe not brought up or maybe not invented from Rashomon, because of course there are books prior to it that use this, even the book that this was based off of. But this really popularized it. This really made it mainstream in cinema. Looking at things such as The Usual Suspects, and even going into TV shows like there are whole episodes of TV shows. I know, Billy, you've been watching It's Always Sunny, right?
Yes.
What season are you on? Are you done with the show? Or are you?
No, I'm on season 3. At the
3?
end of season.
Okay, well, this isn't a spoiler, but right around season 13, there's a whole episode that there are 2 episodes in, I think, one in season 12, one in season 13. One of them is called The Gang Gets a New Member, and that is exactly like this. It's all of the gang recounting memories from their childhood or high school, and kind of putting their own spin, their own comedic spin on it, because that's one of the most hilarious shows ever. And then you have there's a whole episode it's called The Gang Gets Rashomon. They literally allude to this. They are paying homage to this, where they do pretty much what happened here. There was an incident, and I mean, I'm not gonna say anything more. They pretty much have this in a It's Always Sunny twist. Beyond that, there are whole episodes of Friends. There are whole episodes of How I Met Your Mother who do this, and you can see it even beyond that, beyond film. It's something that has impacted just filmmakers. If you ever Martin Scorsese, he literally says that Akira Kurosawa is his I don't want to say god, but like his master. He learned so much from Akira Kurosawa. This movie is widely regarded as an all-time great. And 127 just wow, it seemed kind of low to me. Now I want to say, talking about like the influence that it has. You said it earlier, Rashomon in an anime show, whatever anime show you were talking about.
Naruto.
I really do not watch anime.
Oh yeah.
I might sometime get into it, but this is literally a word that the movie brought into the mainstream. Like the quote earlier, there has rarely been a movie that has had such an impact that their name enters a language. And beyond that, when we get into acting, I'm going to talk about some more of the influences that I see with anime and how this movie had some influences there. Before I get into all of that, I've talked for a little bit now. Do you guys have any spoiler-free thoughts that you want to relay onto the audience before we get into the actual ratings for the acting, the engagement, the score and the music, the style, and the payoff?
Shoot.
Or just
I
like
don't know.
general thoughts. Just like, what did you think of this? Well, do you think it? Well, don't say if it lived up to the hype, because we'll get into that in payoff. But just general thoughts.
It was enjoyable, surprising, and it really shows you like how little we improved till this day. Because everything is perspective, no cap.
How little
But
we improved.
I don't think it was that great of a movie in itself. Like a 4-hour day, it was a kind of average. It was a good movie, but
Mhm.
if I had to look 70 years ago, I wouldn't expect this.
Yeah, I mean, you always have to put stuff in context of when it was made. Billy
Yeah.
was saying this earlier. It's like you can't always just compare it to what we have now. Of course, what
Yeah.
we have now is made directly for us. This was not made directly for us. Of course, it was one of the criticisms that Kurosawa usually gets is that he makes his content too much for Western viewers. And despite that, I don't think he made his content thinking some 17-year-olds who have the internet and who spend 24 hours a day looking at a screen and looking at memes are going to watch this. So you always have to put it in context of when it was seen and how it was seen and how it was made. So I definitely understand what you're saying, though. And I definitely think that you're speaking truth. It's true. I don't think that it holds up to anything that we have nowadays in my mind.
Yeah.
Billy, you have anything to say before we move into the ratings?
Well, I'm gonna just say like one thing. If I was like alive, or I guess, yeah, born during that time, I would have enjoyed this movie for sure.
Yes. I mean, I enjoyed it now, so I would definitely think that I would have enjoyed it then. So let's go ahead and get into the acting. Is there anybody that wants to volunteer to start, or should I just go ahead and say what I think?
I'd
Well,
volunteer.
Oh
Okay, Nebi, go ahead.
Oh, Billy, you volunteer? Go ahead, Billy.
no, I said go ahead to yeah.
See, this is exactly what happened in the movie. If you think about it, this is a metaphor. You know, the acting. It was. I mean, if I have to look at like what was demanded, it was sort of almost like a love triangle, just like in The Room. And so I wouldn't say the acting was super demanding of the characters. Um, but it was they did pretty well. You know, they sold it for me, except that one guy who was like the villain.
Oh, hold on.
Like,
Okay. I'm
yeah,
glad that you brought that up because, okay, I hope you guys can hear this. Let me share my sound because I just stumbled across this interview.
The acting style of Mifune and the Japanese actors is quite different from the English-speaking European styles of acting. It served me, the woman particularly, I thought was good. The Mifune character I might have felt was a little exaggerated, but...
Now, I think is that what you're trying to say? It just felt exaggerated. It felt like he was going a bit crazy at times, right?
yeah, for sure, yeah.
But
It was
I
like,
think I do agree. It's definitely exaggerated, but that's what I needed from that character. Like I don't think that he could have been played in any other way. And this actor, the actor who played him, Toshiro Mifune, I'm 100% pronouncing that wrong, but he's like an all-time great actor. He's this character itself influenced the role of Han Solo, or no, not Han Solo, Obi-Wan in the original Star Wars. And when they made that, it was written for him because of his role in this movie. And he of course he denied it and he turned him down. But this, once again, this is just going to like a widespread influence that this has. And this is where I wanted to get into the anime thing. I know I don't watch anime and I'm not really qualified to speak about this, but I know that Billy and Nevi do.
Wait, speaking of anime, the guy's name is actually Mifune, because there's a character with the same name in Naruto.
All right.
oh, really?
Yeah. You don't remember the swordsman that was like the leader of the samurai?
Come on, Nebi.
Yo,
Even I remember
bro.
him.
I mean, yeah. I really forgot. I'm rusty. But
All right. So, does this acting, at least for me, from like the few minutes of anime that I've seen, it reminds me of just the cartoonish not overacting, but just like the cartoonish characters in anime. Am I wrong in any way? Does he remind you of that in any way? I'm not qualified to speak of this. That's why I'm kind of passing it on.
You're not wrong at all, because I agree with exactly what you said. It was intense and like exaggerated, but that is exactly what I expected. Because if you watch anime, that's exactly what it is. They're like over dramatize everything, and but I don't think he made it worse.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I might be it might sound a bit weird for me to say this, but I think he's one of my, as a character and just like his mannerisms and everything that he does, he's one of my favorite characters that I've ever seen in film. Just he's so funny. It's so I know this isn't supposed to make me laugh, but every time this dude laughed, and also probably because of it kind of seemed ad-libbed in some ways. Not ad-libbed, but just because it is being translated, I guess. We of course use subtitles. So it was so hilarious. Every time he laughed, it just seemed so off, and it just made me laugh. And he did it in like the worst of times, the most uncharacteristic of times. And it's not a comedy. Those parts made me laugh. Once again, I feel like they kind of were there to make me laugh. It feels that way at times. Uh, did that make you laugh in anywhere, or am I just alone here?
No, it made me laugh.
Alright.
His laugh made me laugh. Like
Yeah.
even though like what he was saying was probably not funny, but it's like this dude was crazy, but you couldn't even like think about that. You just think of the fact that what the crap? What is this laugh? Why is it so funny?
Okay. Aside from him, though, I think that I didn't really recognize, or like I didn't really overtly think, oh, the rest of these characters are acting. They just kind of felt like they were being themselves, mainly because it's not like nowadays in Hollywood where if I see Matthew McConaughey in a movie, I'm like, oh shoot, that's Matthew McConaughey. And however he acts, it's like I've seen a whole bunch of his movies, and whatever he's doing, it's different from normal. It's the same. These are people that I've never seen act before, and these are people that, to me, this is their only role. This is all they've done. And aside from that guy, they all just seem normal to me. They all just seem like they are those characters. I can't see them in any other role.
Yeah, I'd agree. Except, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying and how like they're all like super exaggerated, but you're right. That's
I
probably
mean,
the
aside from Mifune, how do you say, Billy?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
funny.
Okay. So aside from him, I think everybody else did I don't think anybody else overacted. Maybe the woman at like when she was, or was it that the woman when she was reciting what was happening, that she had been taken over by the man, or like she was possessed by the man or something like that?
I was
yeah.
so confused on what the hell was going on.
I think
I
that's
knew,
Yeah, she
I
was,
knew
yeah.
that it was. I knew she got possessed, but I was like confused. Like, what is
because
it?
because they started, it was like, okay, now I'm gonna tell my story, and that was a dead dude saying that. So I was like, okay, where's the dead dude? I thought we were gonna like pull up to heaven or something, and then we pulled over to her, and she was just going crazy. She was out there just and I was definitely confused for a while, but I'm pretty sure that's what was happening. She might have been overacting, and once again, that's like necessary overacting. And also, one more thing, me and I think all of us talked about this right afterwards. This is like a really, really small cast. Okay, what we see here is what 2, 4, 6, 8 actors, and I think that might be overplaying it too, because reciting from mind, we have the priest and the woodcutter, those two dudes that are kind of like not necessarily the main ones, but the first two we're introduced to, and then we have that one other guy who they're telling the story to. I think here it's like he's a beggar or he's a commoner. So that's 3. And then we have the princess, or the woman and then we have her husband, the guy that dies. And then we have the bandit. And outside of that, and then we have the baby, I guess. And we'll talk about the baby later on. But outside of those 7, I don't think there's anybody else. And it's such a small, compact, and isolated thing that I think if any one of these people messed up in any way, the entire movie would have been ruined, because all of these characters have very significant roles, and I think all of them did what they needed to do at that moment.
There you go.
With that said, do you guys have anything else to say before we get into the ratings? What our ratings are?
Actually, hold up. Maybe the acting was exaggerated because like they were telling the story. Because all the real life characters were like normal and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not yeah, it might be the reason.
That's a good theory. Well, that's kind of stepping on questions and theories, but that's great. And also, I'm gonna play a little bit more of that clip from earlier, because Altman, the guy that was talking in the video, goes on to kind of give his explanation of why the acting seems a bit exaggerated or overacting. So I'm just gonna go ahead and play this.
That's the music of that culture. A Japanese person will never see the film the same as a non-Japanese person will. The Japanese culture knows that history of the samurai, like we do the American Western. Every culture has their own set of what you grew up as children. So we miss a lot of that in this film because we just don't have the background.
I hope you guys heard that. You guys did hear that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's definitely another possible theory where we're not Japanese. At least I don't think so. So we're not going to be able to automatically understand this 100%. And we have this sort of distance from what we're watching. We're watching it in subtitles, and half the time our eyes are only in the bottom half of the screen. So we're going to have this distance. It's going to seem a bit different from us. We're not used to this. Shoot, how often do you guys watch movies with subtitles?
Never.
Almost all the time.
Well, anime doesn't count.
No, I'm serious. I like subtitles.
Oh, even like English movies?
Yeah, some English movies I watch in subtitles. Cause when I go on Prime and I watch movies, they're like you can choose subtitles. So I'll put.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just so distracting to me. There are definitely times where if it's like a really loud movie that the speaking is a bit unintelligible, then I'm gonna have to. But it's just too distracting. It takes me too much away from what they're actually saying. And once again, it just distances me. All right, so that's another possible explanation. Now, I think I already have my score down, and I already have my reasoning for my score. Do you guys? I'll start off.
Wait, can you tell me out of how many again?
Oh, okay, yeah. For context, acting is out of 10. Engagement is out of 10. The score and the music will be out of 5. The style will be out of 10, and the payoff will be out of 10. Now, for the acting, for me, I am going to give it a 8.5. And once again, this is for 2 reasons. Even though the overacting is very necessary, it is still overacting. And then, like I just said, I, as a viewer, am a bit distanced from it because it is a foreign language film. And I'm going to need a few more viewings. And I think I really want to watch this again. It's pretty short, but I really do want to see this again. I definitely did not get everything for this one. I feel, once again, just like that distance that the subtitles create, maybe going in knowing more, I'm going to be able to like the acting a bit more. Nebi, what would you give this for acting out of 10?
Out of 10, I mean, I can't really confirm my theories, so, I don't know that they were really intending on doing that. So for acting, I'm gonna give it a solid 6.5.
Billy?
Actually, no, I'm gonna give it a 7, just in case. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay, Billy?
For acting, I'm gonna give it an 8, and for the same reason, even though over exaggerating worked, it was still over exaggerating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, sometimes it's just not it.
All right, moving into engagement, and just to repeat one more time, engagement is obviously how engaged were you in the movie, and then also kind of going into the script, going into the dialogue, how much that really had you in. So I'll go ahead and start off again, but with just this one thing. If you guys remember the scene in which the body is found, the first one, with that's like a good 6 or 7 minutes of a guy just walking, and I found that so intriguing.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't take my eyes away from the screen.
Really?
I really couldn't. I don't know. It was just the music just going once again, like these long shots, which I'll get more into that a bit later. I'm saying that a lot, but I definitely will, because I have something else to say about the long shots in this. But it had me really engaged, and well, I'll start off with that, and I've talked a lot, so I'm gonna kind of pass it off to how engaged were you guys? I want to start with Nebi, because you did say this is one of your first foreign language films, and this is probably the oldest movie that you've ever seen.
Yeah.
So how engaged were you? Did this have you? Well, I was about to say, did this have you on Harry Potter level engagement? But I don't think that's
What?
possible. But okay, of all of the movies that we've reviewed so far, that is The Gentleman, The Room, and The Disaster Artist. How engaged were you if you were comparing to those more new age films?
Well, for me, um, shoot, I don't know. Especially, I mean, okay, let me get overall. I was pretty engaged, because I feel like it averages out in the beginning with the walking thing. I was super disengaged. I was like, "But this is the longest walking scene," and I was like, "Why are they doing this?" But like, I don't want to. Actually, I'm avoid that, because the second half and even the middle, like even about like the what's the word, 2/5 of the movie at that time, I was super engaged. I was like, it was like a mystery movie. It had like so
It
many
is. It
plots,
is a
and I was
mystery.
trying
Yeah.
to, yeah, and I was just trying to figure out what was happening, what was true, why they were like so distraught. So, yeah, I was really engaged. It was. You want me to give my score, or just like
No, no,
my
no.
overall
Just
feeling?
we'll give our scores in a few minutes. Billy,
Yeah.
how about you? Now you say you've seen a lot of foreign language, right? Or were you just saying you watch a lot of subtitles, or do you watch a lot of foreign language films
A lot
overall?
of subtitles. When I was a kid, I used to watch a lot of Bollywood and Nollywood movies, like a lot. But I don't
Okay.
remember.
If you can remember, what's the last foreign language film you saw?
Ah,
I know.
nah.
Okay, for me, it was 2 weeks ago with a film called Lain, or I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Billy, correct me. It's Lahain. I want to say Lain.
Oh, is that French?
Yeah, it's a French one. It's a lot like it's the French do the right thing. It's a great one. This is also another one on YouTube. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's really really fun. It's really really uh mm, socially conscientious. Makes you think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is. You pronounce it right, Lion.
Okay. That's the last one I saw about 2 weeks ago. But before that, I don't think I saw a lot of foreign language films. Maybe like 3 months before that, with Parasite, my rewatch of Parasite. But I haven't gone crazy with foreign language. This the
Does
for. Go ahead.
does British movie count as foreign language?
No, just like you have to literally read the subtitles.
Okay, nah, then never mind. But I mean, if it was British, yeah, I watched one not long ago. Actually, the one you recommended. But nah, but when it comes to engagement, this is where the movie went down for me. I was not pretty engaged unless it was an epic scene, like fight scene, or when the woman got
Yo,
overtaken. Um,
To be
those
fair
are the
though,
things
Billy was
that
half
really,
asleep.
yeah,
you gotta give context, Billy.
yeah, like with context about what me or the.
You had 3 hours of sleep the night before.
I mean, I wasn't tired. That's why I do plan. I do plan on rewatch it. I was gonna rewatch it yesterday, but I mean today, but I didn't have
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I was going to too, but I decided to record another podcast with Nebi just about 30 minutes ago. We're recording 2 podcasts in one day.
Yeah, I was sleepy, but I didn't miss the epic scenes because
Yeah.
those were engaging, and that's what actually made me like the film. And but
The fight scenes were really, really good. Maybe I'm hoping I'm not overhyping them for anybody, but I feel like they were really good.
yeah, I agree.
Really good is maybe over.
But
Maybe,
seeing
maybe.
like the dude
I
walking,
mean, yeah.
like yeah, that I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's
Maybe
because
it's just like
I'm more cinematically driven, and I can see everything that was cinematically driven by that scene, what cinematically made that better. It's like the music and all that. I was just so enticed. I was like, hold up, this man is walking and he's still walking. And I looked down at the timestamp and I was like, wait, 7 minutes have gone by. Why is he still walking? And I was like, hold up, I didn't even realize. So I don't know, it had me in there. But as you're saying, this is an hour and 28 minutes. And as much as I'm saying that this really engaged me, it felt more like, I don't know, maybe like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It felt longer than it was.
Definitely.
It was definitely slow at times. And when I say it felt long, I know it sounds really bad to say a movie felt really long, or in this case, I'm saying it felt maybe like an hour longer than it actually was. But I don't think that anything is really wasted here. I feel like everything is necessary. I don't think that this is something where you can cut out 10 or 15 minutes and it's the same exact movie. I think everything is necessary. I think everything was right, but it just felt long. The way that they executed it just made it feel slow at times, for me at least. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now I'll get into the long shots. Now, I have an example here, and I know this is nothing new, but once again, comparing modern cinema to
Like this scene.
Rashomon. This is a scene I love. Captain America Civil War, Winter Soldier is great.
Yeah.
But have you guys realized that I'm going to show you guys 20 seconds of this? And in these 20 seconds, I counted, there are 20 cuts. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let it play. I'll turn on the noise. There were 20 cuts there.
20, yeah. I counted 20.
Yeah, okay, good thing, because I would have felt bad if it was not. 20 cuts in 20 minutes. 20 seconds. And you can even see that there were like a good maybe 2 or 3 not scenes, but frames, 2 or 3 frames that were held on for like 5 seconds. So let's say that's like 6 seconds out of the way. So the other 18 cuts over 14 seconds. Now, I don't even think that Rashomon had 20 cuts. This movie relied heavily on heavy, long shots. And I'm speaking a lot from a cinematic point of view, just like I said. That walking down, that just walk for 7 minutes, there were probably, I think, 3 cuts there. And one of the cuts is just to pan up to the sky. And that, I have a lot more to say about that when we get into style. But this is something that I actually really like. I hate all these cuts that, despite the fact that I love Winter Soldier, I hate all these cuts that this movie does. It makes it feel less cinematic. It makes it, I guess, going into what Scorsese said, it makes it feel more like and I don't think this is a bad thing. I don't know why so many people hate the fact that he said this. Think about what Martin Scorsese said, where he claimed that Marvel movies are amusement park rides. I don't think that's a bad thing to say. Billy, do you? Like, I don't think that's necessarily bad. I can understand. I don't 100% agree. I definitely think that Marvel movies are like a cinematic achievement. Like, making all of these movies, making 23 straight films, 24 if you count Far From Home, or no, 23 if you count Far From Home. That's an achievement. Making all of them connect, making them all of them go on for 11 straight years, and you make these stories work. That's a cinematic achievement. But once again, they do feel like amusement park rides, and I really, really love amusement park rides. So there's nothing wrong about that. And all these cuts that they do, they're going from one to another. That's taking you on that ride. That's making you go, whoa, 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 whoa. And the fact that these older movies rely on these long holding shots, it makes it much more immersive in many ways. And how Rashomon does this, it's from 1950. I'm telling you that if Rashomon did what Winter Soldier did and had 30 different cuts in that fight scene, we would not be anywhere near as engaged. If we were going from a shot of the freaking sword and then over to his head, and then we just kept going back and forth, in 3 seconds, if we have 3 different shots, we're not that engaged. These long shots, they allow for you to see everything. They allow for you to be more captivated by the action, and that is a really big plus here. And like you said, Billy, the best scenes in this are definitely the fight scenes. I'm probably alone on this island where that 7 minute long shot of a guy walking intrigued me. I'm probably alone there, but I don't think I'm alone when saying that those 10-minute fight scenes were amazing. They had you, well, of course they're amazing, but also for 1950, they're really amazing. Like, I would not expect that from a movie from 1950. And well, I'm gonna make sure that I actually sent this to Nebi.
Yeah, about the cuts too. One thing I do hate about all those fast cuts is that I don't know. Sometimes it seems like you don't know what's going on, who's punching who, and like it's sometimes confusing. That's why I
Definitely.
dislike those fast cuts. And I agree that longer cuts in Rashomon
Also,
probably made the scenes better.
yeah, and what I think is the two best action movies of the past decade, Mad Max Fury Road and any one of the John Wicks. I don't care which one you pick, any one of them, they use long takes. If you're going down in John Wick 3, if he's going through 10 different people and he's going to kill all these people and he's going to destroy the hell out of these people, these people, once again, I praise them in our most entertaining video. I praise the editors, the cinematographer, even the director, and especially the choreographer, the fight choreographer, for holding on this, and we just follow John Wick. Go down and do everything. They might zoom in, zoom out, but none of these cuts that take us away. Every time they cut, they're telling us, "Oh, we don't want you to see that." And by not cutting, they make us think, "Yo, something crazy is happening," and it makes it more realistic.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start off with Nebi here. Now, for engagement, I heard what you said. You had some really good points. What do you give this out of 10 for engagement, Nebi?
Out of 10,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with the solid 7. Because it was lagging at some parts, but it really did make up for it. It was above average because just the mystery. Mysteries are always engaging. But
How about you, Billy?
I'm gonna go to 6.5.
All right. Now, for this, I would go with a 8, like a solid 8. Mainly because I don't think Nebi heard this, but last week I decided that I was saying the words blew me away too often. So I told myself I can only say something blew me away once. And I know Nebi probably doesn't agree with this, but given its the context within its time, being made in 1950, I think the fight scenes were the things that blew me away here. And that would make it an 8 here. But then again, I did say it's an hour and 28 minutes, and it feels, I said 2 hours and 15 earlier, it feels like 2 hours and 30. I would say we brought up The Wolf of Wall Street last week. That's a 3-hour long movie, and it felt like it was an hour, and that's it. Probably even less than that. And I'm pretty sure Billy can vouch for this.
Definitely. That felt so quick. Oh my god.
It went by like that. And there's not a single wasted scene there. And there's not a single wasted scene here. But this feels like 3 hours. I would switch them around and say that the Wolf of, if I didn't even know any of this and you quiz me and say how long is the Wolf, you gave me these two numbers, an hour and 28 minutes and 3 hours, and you gave me the Wolf of Wall Street and Rashomon, I would say Rashomon is 3 hours. Just for that, I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm gonna bring it down 1 point down to a 7. Now let's
dang.
go ahead.
When did y'all see the Wolf of Wall Street?
I've seen it.
I've seen it like 4 or 5 times in my lifetime.
Dang, I've never seen it.
You know, it's
Okay,
crazy.
got it.
I think this is the first rated R movie I saw. And this is like a hard rated R. Like there are like a million naked chicks in this, and they say,
Shoot.
I'm pretty sure they say fuck like 1,000 times. Like I'm pretty sure they hold the record for that.
I'm gonna have to watch this movie right now, but
You should. I'm not playing. You really should. But you know what's crazy though? This thing will inspire you. This thing will
shoot.
make you want to become what is
Investor?
it? A stockbroker. Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, it will. Hey, I think Nephew is gonna like the scene with a teddy bear. The camera.
Especially since it's Margot Robbie. We just
Yeah.
did our
Oh,
reaction
Quinn?
video. Yeah, she's Harley Quinn, and this is the thing that put her on the map. This is the first movie that she ever did. She went full frontal in a camera,
you're
and this is on
happy.
the internet.
That's,
You got to see
that's
this,
so
man.
wonderful. All right.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into the score / the music. Does anybody want to start? Because I only have 3 points down about the music. Anybody have anything really overt or really dire to say before I go ahead?
I don't have anything like that. I've never been good at criticizing the music.
Yeah.
Score. And in this case, it's even harder because they didn't. I don't know. To me, I didn't like. They didn't play any like. It wasn't
Songs.
diverse. It was just like intense music to intensify the scenes.
Yeah, definitely. That's just off of that. I had a few words down here, and I think these words are only here because this is the first movie before I put out by this point my summer watches and my rankings. I think the oldest I saw there was like 1971 with A Clockwork Orange, and this is 1950. So just based off of that, I put refreshing. I think this, what you said, like intensity, it's actually a good score for that. I don't think we can really say much about the music because I don't think there really is any, like, there aren't any songs being played. It's I originally had memorable down, but it's nothing like extremely memorable. Like if you ever watch A Clockwork Orange, which we just talked about, Wolf of Wall Street and its vulgarity, A Clockwork Orange is so much even worse. It's so much, it's less fun. It's not as fun as the Wolf of Wall Street, and it will make you uncomfortable at times. But it's like an essential viewing for just anybody. But I don't think it's memorable, and I definitely think it's motivated. And for some reason, I had down eerie, which I don't know why, but I'll
Yeah,
definitely.
I think it was a little bit like Jaws, a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Jaws
Moment.
definitely. Once again, Jaws I think took influence from this, and to me, it feels experimental in nature. It feels like something that. It feels like a Western, maybe a score that a Western would have, or a Western, a mystery, like you were saying, Nebby, and it enhanced the mystery, but it's nothing like crazy. It's nothing super memorable. It's nothing that it didn't blow me away. It had me immersed. It did its job, and I think that's it. And maybe it went one notch ahead of its job, and you'll see what I mean. Well, I'll go ahead. For doing its job, it gets a 3, and going one notch ahead, I'll give it a 3.25. All right,
Dang.
Billy, go ahead. If you have anything more to say, go ahead and say it. If
Wait,
not,
is it out of
just
5?
give your score. Yeah, this one's out of 5.
Oh no, man, that's not that bad.
My rating for this is pretty simple. I'm gonna give it a 3 because it was good enough to intensify the fight scene, but I don't have anything bad to say about it, so no need to like put it low. So I'm sticking with 3.
Nebby, you didn't really say anything about the score. Do you have
Yo,
anything to say?
after seeing the trailer for Tenet, I really see like how much a song can like just make a movie 100 times look better or better. So even Naruto, you know how I use like Naruto music all the time in my vlogs, just
Yeah.
because its effect on the videos. So, you know, I did think that this one was more lacking, like it fit, but it didn't punch. It didn't really pack the punch that it could have into the scenes.
Mhm.
It was suitable. That's the word I think it fits. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
2.5. That's for the most part we've been pretty close to each other ratings wise. Now let's go ahead and get into the style. Once again, style takes into account the cinematography, the directing, how well did it stick to this genre. This is more of that technical category for all those film buffs out there. Now I would like to go last here, and I'm gonna go ahead and let Billy start off here. With did anything about this style? Obviously, it's Kurosawa. I'm pretty sure this is your first of his movies. Did anything stick out to you? Was there anything that, despite the fact that you're watching this for the first time, 70 years later, that seemed new or seemed really motivated and really great, and that like proves his stance as an all-time great director?
Hmm. That's tough because I'm still trying to figure out how to like interpret style. Like, could you like explain to me exactly what it is? Like, I don't know.
That's really hard to say. And in last week's episode, which I know I haven't released yet, me and Nebi talk about like style in film is like how an English teacher grades a paper. There isn't anything specific. It's probably really annoying because it's the most subjective thing out there. A English teacher, no matter who they are, you're not going to get the same grade for even one paper. Even I know we're all heading into college soon. We're doing our applications. Uh, you can write a beautiful ass essay, but if the person that is reading your essay had stepped in a puddle 2 seconds before, they're gonna think worse of it. They're gonna think differently of it, and it's kind of like that here where I can't really pinpoint it. Of course, there are like I said, there's some things like cinematography. How do they move the camera around? Did anything about that stick out to you? Did anything about the movement of anything? Just if they panned over once to a certain character, and then you were like, "Whoa, I didn't expect that," and for some reason that made it better for you. Then that's something about the style. The colors, if well, maybe not here, but it, anything about
He said the
looking
colors.
anything about looking at the film that stood out to you. It was just like you were watching it and then you're like, oh, I haven't really seen a lot of that. Or you're like, oh, I see this being repeated and it's making it a better viewing experience or even a worse viewing experience just because of that. And that was just like a whole bunch of random words, but I hope it made sense in some way.
I think I got some too. What I think one thing that I did like is how he created perspective, how he allowed different people to tell their stories, and
Mhm.
it got us to like view it. Did it happen this way? Did it happen that way? Who can we really believe? Like
We're gonna
who?
get into that in questions and theories. I have so much to say about that. I could have brought that up in literally any one of the categories so far, but we'll talk about the story as a whole in questions and theories.
Yeah, and then I think in the end, that's what he did a little bit in the beginning, but in the end, that's when I started realizing he's trying to portray character,
Mhm.
like character of a person. Of when the dude tries to take the kimono, and he was like, "You really gonna take the kimono?" And I don't remember exactly what he says, but
Are you
there
talking
he
about when they put up to when the baby just randomly
yeah
appeared and then
yeah
the band not the bandit I think he's a homeless man. From what I've read, I think he's just like a person that just roams around. And well, that's his nature. That's what Kurosawa is saying. Every human has their no, despite the fact that we're not animals, we're all defined by a specific characteristic. And he is a thief. And when he sees an opportunity, he takes. No matter what, he doesn't care if it's a baby. He takes. And in that scene, you see the workman, the wood chopper person, who was the guy that was walking earlier, and he's the guy that's like, oh, I don't understand. He eventually is the one that takes the baby, and that's his character. Even though that's also another place where, of course, I was like, what do you think of this? This is a guy that originally he lied. He lied to the police. He might even be lying to us about his version of the story. He didn't decide to tell about anything to the police about the fact that he knew who killed the person and all of this other stuff. But are we gonna now trust in him? Are we gonna now believe in this guy just because he took the baby? It brings into question a lot of that. Nebi, before I get into a whole spiel, do you have anything to say about the style and anything that stood out to you specifically?
I think the style for its time was probably revolutionary. If I look at the cinematography, I could see some classic over-the-shoulder shots. Some things they did. Um, I really like how they told the story. They really just told the story through one man who like told it to everybody else. It was really all the speculation, and they really went back. I think this might have been the first movie to do one of those. They don't actually show what happened, but they show what people think happened, and then like things happen in different ways. So that must have been revolutionary for its time. Though it was the first one to do that.
As you talk about revolutionary, and you also brought up cinematography, that perfectly segues into. There's a lot of stuff I could talk about the cinematography here. Well, there's two things in particular that I want to talk about. Well, before I get into those things, this is one of the first movies where the director gave the cinematographer full artistic freedom, and it kind of shows. And one thing I want to say is this is apparently the first movie to ever look up in the sky, like to literally take the camera and
Bruh.
look at the sky and use that as a motif throughout it, and use that as symbolism. As this gets into the next thing, the lighting. If you remember, as this is a part of the scene where the guy was just literally walking for 7 minutes, and they look up at the sky and you see the trees and the light trying to come through, light representing the truth, and it literally cannot even get through the trees. This is the rainforest of deceit. It's a really symbolic film in that way. And aside from that, the lighting and then the set pieces. Well, before I say anything, are there like actual courts in Japan? I don't want to sound like really culturally blind, but are there courtrooms?
Wait, what'd you say? What?
Are there courtrooms in Japan? Yes, there are.
Oh,
All right,
courtroom.
because they didn't even use a courtroom. They were outside, and they were just sitting there, and and this is another thing. This is one of the first movies to use the camera as a character of its own. And by using the camera as a character of its own, it makes us a character in the story. As if you guys realize, there's no judge. They're literally staring at the camera and asking us.
Yo,
They're
I didn't
talking
realize that.
directly to us. They're asking us, do you trust it? Do you trust what we're saying?
I didn't notice that.
Do you believe in us?
Yeah.
And we are the judges. And that's, I mean, it's so symbolic,
Dang,
and
I had
it's so
no idea.
allegorical.
I guess that plays in the fact of what I was talking about earlier, about how he was portraying different perspectives to see, and then it makes us question who did it, who did not. I guess it does put us in the place of a judge.
Beyond that, this is a story about humanity, and if you trust in deceit and if you trust in humanity, I'll get more into that in the quotes, because in the past two movies, our quotes have been really, just comedic in sense, because there were two comedies. Well, one comedy and one semi-comedy, or one movie that was supposed to be a drama and turned out to be a comedy. But this one has some really profound quotes that I'll elaborate on more later. And before I say too much else, I just want to bring up, this is a black and white movie, but I'm going to sound stupid for saying this, but I didn't really notice, or I didn't really care about the fact that it was black and white. There aren't any colors vividly popping out in front of your face, but it didn't really affect my viewing experience. And that's kind of crazy to think of, because over the past forever, all I see is color, just everything that pops out. You watch Wes Anderson, it's just color. You watch David Fincher, it may be bland, but it's color coming out at you. And this one, it's black and white, but it makes itself stand out through the lighting, through the cinematography, through these more allegorical things. And well, I'll stop there for now, and I'll get more into my other things about style in the other categories, in the best quote, in the best actor, in the best scene. do you guys have anything else to say before we give our scores for style?
Dang, nah. I got things to talk about, like the.
Well, as he thinks of it, as we were talking about uh the fact that we're literally being the judges, you can go into the opening and the closing scenes. The opening scene, you see the two characters, the priest and the uh woodworksman, I guess, and I think that's his job. He's saying, I don't understand, and the homeless man walks out, and he walks in as if we are walking into the story. We're being told the story. He's the one that's there telling the story too, and he walks in the very beginning as if us. And by the end of it, he's gone. He is the only character that is truly like exiled out of this, of the characters in the first of the story within a story within a story arc. So at the very end, it's the woodworksman with the baby, and he literally walks towards us. He walks past the camera as if coming to us, as if asking us, do you trust him? Do you think that he's going to truly care for this baby? Do you think that he's trustworthy enough to do this? Because he's been lying to us. He lied to the court. He lied to the police. He wasn't willing to tell who truly killed. Do you even trust his version of the story? And I'll get more into that with questions and theories. And uh well, I'm going to stop there. I'm just going to give my score because I think I'm going a bit too deep, and eventually I'm going to get into a point where I'm just speaking random mumbo jumbo that doesn't make sense. So for style, it's revolutionary. It's so specific. It's Kurosawa. I want to give this a 10, and I'm not going to, because I don't think this is Kurosawa's best work, or I haven't seen enough of his work. I want to see more of it. And to be safe, I'm going to give it a 9 for now. But I want to see Yojimbo. I want to see Seven Samurai. And I want to see if this style, if this allegorical sense of reality and realism is extended, or if this is the best that he can do. And if this is the best that he can do, expect for me to come back a few months from now, or whenever I do see the rest of his movies, and I'll comment down below, this is the best he did. This is a 10 out of 10. And I'll promise I do that. For now, I'm going to give it a 9. For now, it's so profound. I don't think I can give it any. I'm going to give it a 9.5. A 9 is too low. I'm giving it a 9.5 for style. It's so revolutionary. It's so profound. 9.5 is deserving.
Yo, that's exactly what I was gonna give it. No cap. I don't want to say 10 either. Not because I don't think like that he did any better, just because like no cap, they're better cinematography in movies before its time. It's as good as it can get.
I mean, just that thing, when I heard that this was literally the first movie to look up at the sky, and then after that, that guy that I was talking about, Robert Altman, he said that once he saw that, the day after, he went to work and he tried to emulate that. And it's just so, you can see direct influences in that sense. So Nebi, you're giving it a 9.5 too?
Oh, 9.5. Nah, I was gonna give it a 9.
A 9, okay. Billy?
You gave it a 9.5?
Yeah, I gave it 9.5. I moved it up 0.5 because it's just too good to not be that high. Billy?
I also will go with a 9.
Okay, now moving into the payoff. I think this would be one of the shorter segments because I myself don't have too much to say. And I know I'm really sounding like a broken machine when I'm saying this, but it's just so influential. This is one of the first movies to do that story within a story within another story, and then asking us, who do you trust, this story, that story? Do you trust any of them at all? And in a sense, this is one of the first meta movies. It's one, and I'm kind of using that word a bit freely here, but this is one of the first meta movies. And I think I said this earlier, where I went in expecting, I didn't know what I was expecting. I knew I expected a really good movie, and I'm not sure if it exceeded that though. I mean, I expected an all-time great. I said earlier, if this is not one of the top 5 greatest ever, I'm disappointed. And in that sense, I think I might be disappointed. Outside of that, though, I got more of what I didn't expect. Whereas, if this makes sense, I got more of what I didn't expect. Whereas it kind of fell low in the aspects that I was expecting, and that kind of balances out in that sense. And I'm just gonna go ahead and I guess since it does balance out, I'll give it a 4 out of 5, or I'll give it a 3.75 out of 5. I feel like I went in with too high of expectations, and it didn't really exceed them exponentially. It just met. Let's skip over to Billy.
Yes, give me a second. I did something with my screen. I'm trying to figure out.
All right, while he figures that out, we'll go ahead
Okay.
and. Oh, you got it, Billy. Okay, go ahead.
Wait, is that a 5?
Yeah, this one is out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Well,
what was the category?
Payoff.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna start with like giving out my score, which is 3,
That's 3.
and that's because I tried to expect a lot of it from all the hype you were saying. I really was, but like not too long before, I was like, could it really be that good? I mean, I'm not from that time. Could I really enjoy something that was so far? But then I went in,
Mhm.
and since I was doubting, my expectation went above what I was thinking before, and just
Okay.
a little bit above, and that's why I want to give it a 3.
Oh, hold up. Okay, I want to keep this consistent. So, if you remember in the Gentleman podcast, it was also out of 5. And I believe what I said is a 4 is like it just met our expectations. And then beyond a 4 is that it exceeded them. And then under a 4 is that it didn't exceed it. So, based off of that, I want to stay consistent because I've been doing that for the past 3 podcasts.
Okay.
Based off of that, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4.05. It barely just exceeded it. I just want to stay consistent in that sense. All right, so Nebi.
Well, then let me change mine if that's the case.
Okay.
Let me see. 4.10 or 4.1. My bad.
Okay. Nebi is gone. Well, Nebi,
You want to count up our total?
But I was talking. I didn't realize that the mic was on.
Oh, okay.
So, Billy,
Okay.
you give it a 4.1.
Yes.
Out of 5, bruh, I had the lowest expectations. You know, yeah, I'm like, you can go back to play the clip.
He said it would be
earlier.
at 6 out of 10 overall. Yes, you said it would be a
Overall,
6 out
yeah,
of 10
'cause it was
overall.
a black and white movie, an old movie, but I never seen one of these. I thought it was gonna be trash. I've
Mhm.
seen like these like black and white movies on TV.
Mhm.
Oh, they're so boring.
Mhm.
Like even if they're in English, they're still boring. And I feel like this movie, even the dialogue was like really well, you know,
Mhm.
even for our time. So
Yeah.
um, payoff. Let's shoot.
It's out of 5. Remember, if you heard me, it's a 4 is like it just met, and it sounded like it exceeded your
Yeah,
expectations.
100%. So I
So
gotta give like a 4.9.
dang.
Cause I had no expectations for I
You
had
did
no expectations than The Room, which was the worst movie of all time.
it.
Because this is such an old movie.
Yeah, I understand. I understand you. I understood where you were coming from. This is one of the first black and white and foreign language films that you've seen like in a while, and maybe ever. This is the oldest that you've seen. So I understood where you're coming from. Now I'll go ahead.
Hey, yeah, but
And,
hold up.
yeah, go
Before
ahead, Billy.
we add up, can you change my acting to 8.5?
Oh,
Because I just remember what the guy said. What's the name? The dude, Robert Altman?
yeah.
Yeah. When he was talking about, no, you changed Nebi's, not mine.
Oh, Nebi
Uh,
is still at a 7. My bad. And then you're at 8.5. Go ahead.
Yeah, he talked about the woman. Or Mizzy, I don't know. But I just realized that the woman did kind of fool me a little bit. So, like,
She,
she
Mhm.
kind of got me. So I thought that deserved to move up the acting points.
Okay. So without giving too much thought to it, I want each person to guess what their overall score is. Billy, what do you think your overall score is?
Out of oh shoot,
Out of 10. I averaged it. I weighted everything. Out of 10, what do you think you gave it?
probably 7.
You gave it a 7.65.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Now, Nebi, what do you think you gave it?
An 8 out of 10. Guaranteed.
I want to double check before I mess up. Oh shoot. Oh, just barely edging out Billy with a 7.73. Just you like slightly. It looks like a bigger gap, but just actually looking at it, the sum was like 30.9 to 30.6. Now, you guys want to guess what I got? Because I'll say mine's is higher. Try not to look at the scores.
I'm gonna say 8, like 8.25.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Nebi.
agree with Diddy.
I gave it a 8.08. Fairly close. Overall, I expected, I think I said an 8.5, and it fell below my expectations, but I don't think it's like it horribly fell below. I don't think that if any movie is gonna ever get a perfect score from us.
Hey, Yabo.
Yeah.
I think the music I said 3 and Nebi said 2.5. Nebi, do you remember?
Yeah. Hold up.
'Cause
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah.
He's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Nice catch, Billy. So that's a now Nebi's moves down to a 7.6. Billy, you move up to a 7.78.
okay.
And averaging out all three of ours, we are at a 7.82. Oh, same thing. We're at a 7.82 overall. That is the highest yet. That is, I think, still too low because this is a great movie.